It's chocolate time!
Hi, how are you?
Good to you?
Yeah, thanks.
I have some chocolate. Do you want some?
Yeah, please. Thank you. Tastes very good.
Yes,
Tastes
very nice.
very good. Chocolate. It looks so innocent. But now you will see.
Widespread use of children in the cocoa industry is a big problem, not only because of child labor and exploitation, but also because up to 12,000 of the 200,000 children who are working in Ivory Coast, the world's biggest cocoa producers, are victims of human slavery and trafficking. Most attention on the subject has focused on West Africa, which delivers 69% of the world's cacao, and Ivory Coast in particular, which delivers 35% of the world's cacao. 30% of the children under age 15 in Saharan Africa are child laborers in activities like cocoa farming.
The ownership of one human being by other is illegal in Ivory Coast, as it in every other country in the world today. But that doesn't mean slavery has ceased to exist. Rather, it has simply changed its form. A slave is forced to work by violence or the threat of violence, paid nothing, given only that which keeps with him or her able to continue to work. It's not free to leave and can be killed without significant legal consequence.
In the case of old slavery, children rarely brought in more than they cost until the age of 10 or 12, though they were put to work as early as possible. Slavery was profitable, but the profitability was diminished by the cost of keeping infants and small children. The new slavery avoids this extra cost and so increases its profits. In former times, the cost to purchase an average slave was around $50,000. Currently though, enslaved people are bought and sold in the world's most poor nations for only $50 or $100. The result is that they tend to be treated as disposable. Slaves today are so cheap that they are not even seen as a capital investment anymore. Unlike slave owners, slave holders don't have to care of their slaves. They can just use them up in the cocoa fields, for example, and then throw them away.
According to the World Cocoa Foundation, about 45 million people worldwide depend on cocoa for their daily livelihood, and yet the income of these small farms in third world countries can only get us close to $30 a year per family member. And one of the main reasons they have to put up with such low incomes is due to the fact that the prices of these cocoa beans are constantly being set by investors from New York and London stock exchanges, which artificially causes the prices from the cocoa beans to vary in larger rays. And it's not the big transnationals, aka the dominators of the markets, that have to endure this pain. No, it's the small-scale farmers that have to endure the constantly changing prices.
When farmers harvest the pods, they may find out that the income they get does not cover production costs, and they might not even have enough maneuver capacity. In fact, they don't. Between 2000 and 2003, prices went from a 27-year low to a 16-year high. That's a threefold change. And did you notice it on your chocolate bar price tag? I didn't. After going to a trip to 5 villages in August 2006, An author confirmed on the internet that Ivorian farmers receive approximately 125 francs per kilogram, which is just under 1/3 of what the government itself receives. Imagine an American crop where the tax on the crop is almost 3 times the farm gate price. These guys are the sheer definition of poor, but there's a solution to help them.
Fairtrade!
Fairtrade. In June 2010 in Switzerland, cacao consuming and producing countries made a pact to make the industry more fair and sustainable. They made the fair trade standards for cacao. Fair trade minimum price is paid directly to the producer. A fair trade premium is paid on top of that minimum price and is used for social and economic investments. There are also environmental standards against pollution, and there is no forced labor, including no child labor.
The current fair trade movement was shaped in Europe in the 1960s as a protest of liberal students against big corporations. Cocoa farmers suffer from price instability, but as fair trade principles include paying a fair price and establishing a long-term relationship, cocoa fair trade frees producers from uncertainty thanks to the minimum price established and to the premium paid on top of it.
The fair trade premium is used by cooperatives for social and economic investments such as education, health service, processing equipment and loans to members. As of December 2006, there were 21 cacao registered producers. Cacao fair trade is still a tiny fraction of the total wheat market. In fact, producers can't sell all their output on this market, so they sell the rest to ordinary traders. The way to go is clear. We must eat more Fairtrade chocolate to boost cacao fair trade. We can lend a hand to cacao fair trade producers by spreading the word. Fair trade really helps people. Getting things as simple as a water pump can make a huge difference in a West African village. And those things are happening right now.
As for slavery, it is clear that the recent public and political awareness of slavery in cocoa production has moved both the government and the chocolate industry to action. We still have a long way to go, but the process is being made for the first time in years. In fact, there are already many chocolate companies who use cocoa that has definitely not been produced with slave labor.